The Republicans have confused and bastardized the Second Amendment to the degree that they believe it gives them the authority to just carry around any type of weapon they want, any place in America they want, at any time that they want. And the truth is, it wasn't meant for them anyway. It was an amendment that was meant for militia, not the individual jackleg out there that wants to carry an AK-47. But I have Elliot Fineman, who's the president and CEO of Gun Victims Action Council, with me. And we're going to talk about what maybe you can do individually to fight back right there from your home. Elliot, how are you?
I'm good, Mike. How are you? Nice to be back.
I'm doing fine, thank you. So tell me, tell me what's going on generally with this effort to go after by way of boycotts and by way of political pressure on places like the Hallmark Corporation or some of these, or Starbucks or that type of thing. What are you doing to boycott in a way that actually means something?
Well, we've concluded that asking the politicians to do the right thing is not going to get us over the goal line. We've gone over, as our side has gone over 22 years at the federal level, meaning there's not been a single law passed at the federal level that would have served to reduce gun violence over the last 22 years since the Brady Act was passed. There have been several laws passed to make sure gun violence increases, but none to diminish it.
And would you agree, Elliot, that the main reason that happens is because K Street is passing so much money around in political bribes to politicians in the Beltway? I mean, again, we've been talking about the influence of money in politics. This is a prime example of it, isn't it?
This is an absolute prime example of it, and it's an example where, for the moment, the NRA has had the gun lobby has had more money and more firepower to influence the legislators. So what our ultimate goal is to use the one power that we have left as citizens, which is our buying power. And if we can focus our buying power, we can force a number of things to happen and ultimately force sane gun laws. We identified Starbucks originally because they refused to ban guns in their stores, yet they ban guns in their corporate headquarters, so they know guns are dangerous, but they wouldn't ban them in their stores. What they've done after we started the boycott, and ultimately other groups joined in, the Newtown Action Alliance and other, groups from Newtown, the clergy, etc., and Moms Demand Action joined in near the end. Starbucks said, well, we won't welcome guns in our stores. And I wrote an op-ed saying that was a real cop-out because you don't say that in your corporate headquarters.
Yeah.
And that's what we're after.
Well, as I listen to you talk, I think about all of these special interest groups that on the progressive side that they're all doing such a great job individually with what they have to work with. But at the end of the analysis, you have to say there's only one thing that really matters that all progressives need to change, and that is to take the money out of politics. And then these kinds of things take care of themselves. You don't have to individually go after Chipotle or Chili's or Hallmark. But right now, this is where you're left. This is the only avenue you have that's available until we can seriously go forward with a constitutional amendment that says, no, you can't do this anymore. We can't have money in politics. Is that the way you see it, or am I reading too much into it?
I couldn't agree with you more, Mike. And what's encouraging and optimistic about what we're doing is once we defeat the NRA, and we will, because once we get corporate America wanting sane gun laws, we'll get them. And we'll get them quickly, just like we did with marriage equality. Once we show that using consumer buying power can force politicians to do what we want them to do, we'll be able to get the money out of politics. We'll force an overturning of Citizens United, and we will force an overturning of the McCutcheon one that just went through.
Even worse than Citizens United.
We have the power to do that, because the one thing that we have that corporate America needs is our spending power. They need us to spend money, and if we don't spend money, they can't survive. And if we cleverly focus our spending, we can direct the conversation and force the issue.
Well, what I love about what you're doing here, Elliot, is you're left with very few options here. You have a dismal Congress that will never help, and I'm sure you learned that quickly. That they'll give lip service to it and then won't do anything. They're so afraid of the K Street money for the NRA. So again,
Absolutely.
You have to get the K Street money out. There has to be enough outrage to where people say, you know what? Yeah, I may get arrested for this. I may end up in jail for this. I may have a dog sicked on me or a club swing over my head for this, but I got to do it. And I would think that the group of people who are in this fight about guns, that they are so motivated that they understand that they're joined at the hip with this effort to bring a constitutional amendment about. Am I right, or are the two just completely separate right now?
No, we are all joined at the hip in the way we're all doing different things. And the way I describe it, it's like the armed forces. We have an Army, a Navy, a Marines, an Air Force, Coast Guard. Everyone is contributing to the end result, but they all do it in a different way. And it's important that they do it in a different way, because you need different things, for different purposes. The nice thing about what we're calling for, which is a boycott of Hallmark, we're calling for that boycott because Hallmark has made a public statement that they would never support any anti-gun regulation.
What reason did they give? What reason did they possibly give for that, Elliot?
Well, the reason was that they were the NRA recycled their old enemies list, and the prior chairman, the father of the current chairman, in the 90s, had supported a very bizarre, I'm being facetious here, it had supported in Missouri, they wanted to make it a requirement that you need a permit to carry concealed. And the father thought this was a good idea and contributed $20,000 to that effort, and therefore Hallmark made the enemies list. So when they recycled it about a year ago, current Hallmark, today's Hallmark, was outraged that they were on the list, and they went out of their way to make the statement that they, Hallmark, would never oppose.
Incredible. So always all about money.